Today we're going to talk about sugar beet pulp. Sugar beet pulp is one of these agricultural byproducts that is commonly fed to horses and which sometimes people don't always understand the nuances of it. So what is sugar beet pulp? Sugar beet pulp is the fibrous remnants of the sugar beet. Sugar beets are grown particularly in northern states. For the sugar, they're like a beetroot. Those of you who've seen beetroot, they look a bit like a beetroot. The sugar beet is harvested, it's washed, it's chopped finely, so shredded almost, boiled. The water that is boiled in, the sugar that is in the cells comes out and is into the water. The water is extracted off, there are several extractions, and is taken away, and the sugar is extracted for human consumption. What is left are the fibrous remains of the cell walls, the material that is mostly cell wall material, some protein, little tiny bit of sugar left, but really they've taken out every bit that they can, believe me, because they sell that stuff. The remnants of sugar beet pulp are very high fiber, and they have been cooked because they've been boiled, so they have been rendered a little more digestible. And the sugar beet pulp itself, it usually comes in shreds, and it dried, and then it is used for animal feeds. Now, sugar beet pulp can sometimes be compressed into cubes. They put it through a compressor. Sugar beet cubes need to be soaked in water before they're fed because they have been compressed. And when water is added, they swell. You do not want to be feeding those to animals because they could swell in the throat and they could end up choking the horse. So if you're buying the cubes, the compressed form, make sure that it is soaked for a minimum of 4 hours before it is fed. You soak it until the cubes themselves break up and crumble. When you put your hand into it and you palpate the cube, it falls apart. If it's still strong and tough and hard and doesn't fall apart, don't feed it. Let it soak a little longer. The shredded pulp that is not compressed can be fed dry, but it is usually better to wet it slightly before you feed it, mostly because it's very dusty and the animal can breathe it in. You really don't want them breathing in dust. What you would do is you would mix it with whatever else you're feeding. You would add a little bit of water at feed time, stir it up, give it to the animal. The beet pulp has very high fiber. It's what we call a fermentable fiber. This is a fiber, it's mostly pectins and hemicellulose, which is digestible partially in the small intestine, mostly in the large intestine. It's what we call fermentable fiber. It goes back to the large intestine, and the bacteria that live there ferment it to produce byproducts that the horse absorbs through the walls of the GI tract and it utilizes for their own benefit. It's a very good high fiber feed for horses, and it's a very safe feed. It is extremely good for any animal that is sensitive to starch or sugar, if you don't want too much carbohydrate, because it is fiber, it is not carbohydrates. They've taken the sugar out. The name sometimes scares people because it's called sugar beet pulp, but it's the pulp, it's not the sugar that you're feeding. But sugar beet pulp is a very useful feed. It's a slow energy. Because it's produced by fermentation, it takes its time to get into the body. The animals don't get so excitable, don't get upset when they eat it. But it is a good, safe feed, and it's very useful. It has a fairly high energy content, so you can feed quite a bit of it safely, and you can help you get weight on some of these hard keeping horses. And it's very useful for keeping the hindgut healthy and in good shape.